All right, welcome everybody to the Cincinnati semifinals. Big match to start. We've got the first match, the biggest match first, and then the next match comes on after this with, which is a little less, I guess, a little less important for US Open. This could be we could be watching the final here. This could be the final of the US Open in a couple of weeks. Swiatek, Rybakina, and then Paolini taking on Kudermetova a little bit later. But big day. Big day, and then the final tomorrow on Monday, which is just the way it is, this tournament. It is just how it is. This feels like a heavyweight clash. It feels like that this is... I mean, I know Rybakina is not in the top four, but it feels like a big four clash. It feels like they're both... I mean, Rybakina should be higher ranked, I think, but Swiatek obviously being number two, and... number three, and if she does win this title, she will be back to number two. So that's a big deal as well. But they played some of the biggest matches in the world. They played Master 1000 matches. They played Grand Slam matches. And Swiatek leads the head-to-head. She's actually turned it around. Start of the year, we thought Rybakina was one of the biggest problems for Swiatek. But then with Wim Fizet, he's figured out how to beat Rybakina, how Swiatek can beat Rybakina. So it's kind of turned around. Last couple of matches have gone to Swiatek. But Rybakina's got a coach back this week, and she's been playing really well. She's made the semifinals of Canada and now here. So she's been playing really well. So let's see if she can get one back against Swiatek. It's 5-4 in favor of Swiatek. But for a while there, it was Rybakina's win whenever they play. So let's see if Rybakina can turn it around. Rybakina's coach is allowed to go to events now. He was always allowed to coach. He just wasn't allowed to be there. He was always allowed to coach. He's a big factor as well. Yeah, exactly. All right. Last couple of shots, and then they're going to get ready to go. She has looked different with her coach back. Oh, yeah. I mean, the last couple of weeks, and like I said, I think... Again, whatever you think about him, and whatever however you feel about the situation, whatever your opinion is, can't deny that, him being there at least brings us a little bit of confidence and stability within the team. So, and I reckon last week, she probably found out that last week he was going to be able to go to Cincinnati, and that maybe helped her do well in Canada as well, because she hasn't been playing the best tennis for Rybakina. It's been, we all know about, obviously the suspension of the coach, but then, she's had coaches come in. She had Goran come in. That didn't work out. She's had mixed results. So at the end of the day, as long as she's playing well, she's happy. Whatever else is going on or not going on, or, we don't know what's up, right? Exactly. It can only be, we only want the best for her, right? The big question is whether Rybakina can sustain her level. Yeah, well, she destroyed Sabalenka. I mean, Sabalenka looked so out of sorts in the last match. Sabalenka usually gets pissed off when she's losing, but she didn't even look, she just was stunned. And she was kind of just like, what the hell is this? I can't do anything. So, yeah, it was super impressive. Super impressive. Rybakina has a turn into Penko. Not really. I mean, she's already been... I don't think she has a turn to Penko. All right, Swiatek's going to serve first. She won the toss and elected to serve. That was a statement win, but let's see if she can do it again. Yeah. Yeah, it was a statement. But this is this is a match that Rybakina lately, has not done well at. So let's see if she can beat Swiatek as well. Then we're going to start thinking, okay, well then where does she fall when we talk about US Open winners? Is she going to win the US Open? It's been a worse slam over the time, but that's usually because we get to this point and everyone's tired, and she's one of those people that pick up an injury at this point in the year, and she gets to the tournament with an injury. By the way, Rybakina has spent 8 hours on court. Swiatek 4 hours. It's crazy. So the road to this stage, Rybakina got a bye first round. She beat Zarazua in 3. She beat Mertens in 3. She beat Keys in 3. And then she destroyed Sabalenka, so that's why she's played longer. Swiatek played Potapova second round. Kostyuk didn't have to play. Got a walkover, which is, again, why she's not played that much. Kostaya in straights in the 4th round and then beat Kalinskaya. So, yeah, Swiatek has not had to work. And that's a good thing because she comes in fresh. But it also could be a bad thing because she hasn't played anybody. Nobody's tested her. And we know Rybakina will test her. So it's good and bad. If you go into a match like this with ultimate ultimate energy, that's great. But also, what happens when Rybakina starts hitting return winners? How do you react to that? Because she hasn't had to deal with that, Swiatek, at all. I'm going to go Swiatek in 3. I said Rybakina. I'm going to go Rybakina in 3. Rybakina's played a lot, though, so it's like, well, is she going to get tired? There's a lot of questions. As Swiatek gets that out on the first point, love 15. Next year, these two could be 1 and 2. No, I still think Gauff and definitely Sabalenka is going to be top 3 or top 2. Good serve, Swiatek 15-0. 15-0. As the return goes out by Rybakina. 30-15. Swiatek serves again. 30-15. And the return goes into the forehand of Swiatek. Swiatek hits the line. 40-15. Lovely shot. 40-15. (40-15). And Swiatek with another good serve. Short ball comes in. Slice, lob. Rybakina. And Swiatek puts it away. All right. 1-love. And I think the big difference, so I said earlier that, the head-to-head was, whenever they'd play, it would be, everybody would lean towards Rybakina because Rybakina had everything that Swiatek, every part of the game that Swiatek struggled against, and all the weapons that Rybakina has were the things that Swiatek feared most, right? But that's changed. That's changed in the last sort of 12 months. I think one reason is because of maybe the instability around the Rybakina coaching and the Rybakina team. She's had so many things going on that when she plays these big matches, maybe she's not ready. But also it's about Swiatek's game. I mean, it's completely changed. At least it's become more aggressive. Her serve has become more of a weapon. Whereas before, when she played these type of players, Sabalenka, Rybakina, she would the serve would be a problem. The returns of Rybakina would be a big, big part of the game. But with her serve being better or being more less of a weakness now, Swiatek, it's definitely been interesting to see how this is how the rivalry's kind of turned around. They did play a really epic match at the French Open, but that was obviously on clay, so the serving, doesn't work as well, and Rybakina's returns she was able to hit some returns. But Doha and the United Cup this year, both straight sets wins for Swiatek. They did play in Stuttgart last year, which was the last time that Rybakina got a win, but that was so much has changed since then, right? With Swiatek, that it's hard to. It's hard. Well, we don't know. I mean, this is the first time we're getting, sort of Rybakina with her. She's healthy. She's got her team sorted out. She's confident. And then Swiatek coming off Wimbledon, playing her level. So this could be really, really, it could be an epic. It could be one of the matches of the week. 40 love. Your daughter's going to be named after the winner of this match. That is wild. That's crazy. 40 love. And Rybakina serves into the back of Swiatek. Forehand Rybakina in the net. 40-15. 40-15. I think Rybakina's got to win the first set if she's going to get the win. Now she serves an ace out wide. All right, 1-1. Because if Rybakina loses the first set, it's funny because when they play, and we've watched them play almost every time they have played. I think, but maybe the first time we didn't watch them, but we've watched them every time since. We always talk about like, oh, okay, well, we know what Rybakina is going to do if she plays well. It's always about how does Swiatek react to that. So if Swiatek wins the first set, she could be like, oh, okay, yep, let's go. Whereas if Rybakina wins the first set, maybe that throws some doubt into Swiatek's head, right? Whereas I don't know if losing the first set for Rybakina, if it's going to really affect her, unless she loses, if she's up 5-2 and loses 7-5 or something, that would affect anybody. But if I think the first set will be super important for sure for the mentality of the player or both players. All right, 15 love. Is it a forehand out of the backhand of Rybakina, and then Swiatek overhits it, 15-0. And also Rybakina's already hit a couple of big winners, so let's see how Swiatek can respond. 15-0. Now, these two were supposed to play at Wimbledon, but unfortunately, Rybakina went down just in the round before they were supposed to meet. So that would have been something interesting had we have seen these two play at Wimbledon. But Towson beat Rybakina in the third round, and then Swiatek beat Towson in the fourth, 30-15. So it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see them play at Wimbledon, because that would have really been a very interesting result had it, whatever the result was going to be. Rybakina's probably Rybakina's biggest or most successful tournament or happiest place, right? She won a Grand Slam there. She made multiple other results. As we get a double fault, Swiatek. Keep an eye on that. The second serve points won by the way, 0. What the hell? Anyways, 30-0. Chance for our first break point. Hey, Kathy, thank you for the 40 months. Appreciate that. All right, 30-0. Swiatek serves again. The forward Rybakina, Swiatek forehand down the line. That's a great shot. Perfect play. Serve out wide, forehand down the line. And it's 40-30. Swiatek's already hit 5 winners, and Rybakina's hit 4. I mean, that is crazy. We played 2.5 games. As Rybakina volley goes in the net, and it's 2-1. We played 3 games and we've had 9 winners combined. That's crazy good. That is crazy. Okay. Did I play the sound? What sound? Was it always planned for the ladies' semi-finals to be after the men's, or was it due to the rain delays? No, apparently it was always planned. I'm not sure why. I don't know why. It doesn't make a difference, really, but I'm not sure why, if there was a reason. Because the Canada finals wouldn't have made a difference, maybe, or maybe it would have. I don't know. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if there's a reason. Maybe they just went, hey, let's just switch it. Who cares? Or maybe they had no. Maybe they didn't have a reason. Maybe it was because they thought that Gauff would be. Maybe they wanted Gauff to, the ladies on the women's side, maybe Gauff and Keys and Pegula, had a better chance of making the final, so they wanted to put the women's final on after the men's final because they thought maybe that's going to be a better final, for the crowd. I don't know. Maybe they were expecting it to be, maybe that reason. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're still going to get the finals tomorrow, and, We're back in first serve percentage, 100%? Yeah. Crazy. They keep this level and we got a match. Oh, yeah. It's already such a high level. All right. We're back into serve. 2-1 Swiatek. We've had our first bit of first test. And Swiatek can't get that back. We're back in with an ace. 15 love. Love this matchup. Oh, I do too. I love this matchup as well. I remember when we watched them a couple years ago play the, what was it called? The World Tennis League. And they'd only played one time before that. And Rybakina came in. Remember, because Rybakina, at the end of 2023, end of 2022, Wimbledon champion, but she didn't get points for it, so her ranking wasn't into the top 10 yet. She was outside the top 10, and she didn't make the WTA finals because the rule wasn't in place where if you win a slam, you get in, if you're outside the top 8. And they played at the WTL, and Rybakina just kind of destroyed Swiatek, and it was like, oh, okay. And then they played the Australian Open, which was huge, as Rybakina goes to 2-0, which was huge because, of course, Swiatek, again, was, Rybakina was dangerous, but we didn't know whether or not that exhibition match had made any difference would make a difference, or would be, it doesn't count, right? Because look at how many exhibition tournaments we have, and then look at what happens in the real life. They don't usually, it's rare that they translate. But it showed how big that psychological victory was for Rybakina, but also against Swiatek. And then they played in Australia on a hot afternoon. 6-4, 6-4 was Rybakina's win in the 4th round. And it was like, oh, okay, Rybakina is now, and then she made the final. But it's like, okay, Rybakina, she won Wimbledon, didn't get anything for it. Everyone basically forgot about it up to that point. And then she kind of, from that win against Swiatek in Australia in 23, from then on, everybody's been like, well, she's going to win more slams. She's going to be this, she's going to be top player. And then she won Indian Wells and she started winning all the 1,000, and she got better. She's gotten better and better. So this has been such a key match on the WTA over the last couple of years. Such an important matchup, All right, 30 love. And it's a matchup that's forced Swiatek to play a different style. Like, I wouldn't say it's only Rybakina, but Rybakina is a big reason why Swiatek was able to win Wimbledon. Because Swiatek had to change things against Rybakina types, and those changes, I think those changes ultimately gave her a game that she could win Wimbledon. It's part of the reason probably was why she got Wim 5Z as well, right? I mean, and Rybakina is one of those reasons. Obviously, Ostapenko is one of those reasons. You got Danielle Collins, maybe Coco as well, and Sabalenka are reasons as well because they're aggressive against Swiatek. But Rybakina is one of the reasons why Swiatek needed to change and felt the need to get a better serve, be less vulnerable as she serves an ace out wide. Perfect timing, 3-2. Rybakina is one of those, was, probably more the reason because with Penko, yeah, she's played her a lot and she hasn't beaten her, but Ostapenko's not making the final. You don't have to beat Ostapenko to win tournaments. Rybakina is someone you have to beat. You're going to meet her a lot because she's going to be in the semis. She's going to be in the quarterfinals. So maybe we should give Rybakina some credit for Swiatek winning Wimbledon. Anyways, how are we doing, chat? What's going on? Are we ready for the day? I don't even know when the finals are tomorrow. I think they're like sort of the same time, right? Oh, by the way, we also have so tomorrow the finals are Cincinnati, and then the mixed doubles is the next day. So we got 3 more days, but then we get like a couple of days off because the US Open doesn't start until Sunday. But it's gonna be pretty. Still got plenty of stuff going on the next few days, and then the draw comes out sometime. They don't do a draw thing unless they change their mind this week. I don't know. Maybe they could do a draw ceremony. I don't know. But yeah, plenty of things to do. Plenty of stuff. And then we got the final slam of the year. I mean, what the hell? How'd that happen? Finals is starting at 3 p.m. tomorrow. So the same time as this? Wait, what time is it now? Oh, okay. So way later. So hang on. So what time is it? So at like 5 a.m. my time. Oh, so like 2 hours later. By the way, Sinner has got 35 minutes to commit to the mixed doubles. The countdown is on. Jannik Sinner has got 35 minutes to pick a new partner and submit it to the USTA if he wants to play the mixed doubles. He got 35 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on. See if Sinner announces a partner in the next, or he's if the US Open do anything, if they announce that Jannik Sinner is going to team up with someone else. He's got 35 minutes. All right, 15 love. Is it a fault from Rybakina second serve? I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play. All right, return goes into the backhand of Rybakina. Into the forehand Swiatek. Rybakina forehand. Again, the forehand Swiatek is Rybakina. Again to the forehand Swiatek is Rybakina forehand again. Into the forehand Swiatek. Rybakina backhand slice. Swiatek forehand slice. Into the backhand of Rybakina. And Swiatek backhand in the net. Good rally, 30 love. By the way, chat, I know people have been mentioning it this week, and I haven't because I've been complaining about other things. But, God, the glare on the court really sucks. Like, I like the change of colors and stuff, but they got to fix those cameras. The glare on the court is so... It's just a little bright. It's a little too bright. If they just take it down one notch... They changed the setting of the camera to be a little less bright. It looks good, but it's just a little too bright. You're just kind of squinting to see the ball. This is a little bit too bright at this time of the day. I know it's been like people have been mentioning it, and I've seen it. Like I've dealt with it too, but it's just like everything's a little bit too like shiny, and it's hard to see. Hard to see the ball. All right, 40 love. As the return goes into the back of Rybakina. Great shot, Rybakina down the line. Swiatek somehow gets it back. And then Rybakina forehand to the forehand of Swiatek. Again, the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek forehand again to the forehand of Rybakina. Rybakina hits it out. That was a crazy rally. 40-15. Yeah, glossy. That's a good... Yeah, it's like a glossy court. That's a good way to describe it. I'm sure the camera guy knew that after the first day if they watched the feed. Yeah, but maybe he wasn't allowed to change the camera settings. Maybe they're like, no, leave it. Because the thing is, if they change the settings, then when it gets dark, they got to change it back. So maybe it's not as easy as just flicking a switch to change the look. I mean, it should be pretty easy, but I don't know. I don't work there. All right, 40-30. Rybakina hits it long. $40-30. As the return goes in the back of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand again to the back of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand on the stretch. Rybakina forehand cross. Swiatek gets it back. Rybakina forehand again to the forehand of Swiatek. It's the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek forehand again to the backhand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand on the stretch again. Goes out. I tell you what. Good defense by Swiatek, but Rybakina is hitting so flat, and Swiatek is struggling to stay in these rallies. 3-3. Like, Swiatek is, like, the ball is flying through the air. And Swiatek's just, like, defending. And she's defending well, but like, Rybakina is hitting real clean. And really hard. Like, she's hitting them really hard. All right, 3-0. Great start to this match. It's also gone pretty quick, too. All right, serve. Into the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand. Goes into the backhand of Rybakina. And then Swiatek can't get it back. Rybakina with a little fist bump as well. Love 15. I'll tell you this, chat. And I know people don't like him. But if Rybakina wins this match, you got to say that Vukov being there is the difference. Because he hasn't been there all year. Hasn't been there playing. He hasn't played been there to help in person against Swiatek all year. The 3 times that Swiatek played Rybakina, the coach wasn't there. So you got to say it's a factor. Even if you don't like him or don't like the situation, right? You got to say that even if it's just to give her a little confidence or just say the right thing at the right time, or even if it's Swiatek seeing him there, you know, maybe psychs her out a little bit. Anyways, love 30. Love 30. He has been there. No. In the stadium. Like, there's a difference. There's a massive difference in him being, like, behind the scenes. Like, him being there. Like, you turn around to the coach's box and you see the guy that helped you in Wimbledon. Like, that's going to, you know, and the guy that helped you beat this lady 4 out of whatever it was, 4 out of 5 times or whatever. Again, you don't have to like him, but you got to say that's got some psychological benefit for Rybakina. That's the only difference, besides Wim Fizek coming in and changing Swiatek's game. It's one of the, you know, the other difference is, like, Rybakina hasn't had her coach there. All right, love 40. Break points. Rybakina. As the return goes into the back of Swiatek. Rybakina forehand into the forehand of Swiatek to the back of Rybakina. Swiatek back on the stretch. Rybakina backhand again to the backhand of Swiatek. And she hits a winner down the line. That's one saved. 15-40. 15-40. $15.40. Swiatek serves. Into the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand. The backhand of Rybakina. Into the forehand of Swiatek. Rybakina forehand. Winner cross court. And Rybakina with a bit of a shake of the fist. She's emotional today. She did this one. She's emotional. Rybakina's fired up. She's fired up today. She's throwing hands. All right. Swiatek, by the way, just kind of threw her hands in the air after that shot. She's kind of like, what's going on? All right. Break Rybakina, 4-3. She needs to calm down. Things are she's getting a little crazy. Getting a little wild, all right? Jeez. She's playing great, though. Rybakina's playing great. Don't see anyone getting in the way of Elena in this form. I mean, Paolini in the final, if it's that matchup, it could be interesting. But again, we're so far away from this final. Let's keep watching this before we start talking about the title. We've had 17 winners already. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. And I mean, look, Swiatek's playing well as well. It's not like Swiatek's having a bad start. Swiatek's been playing good as well. Just Rybakina's overpowering her in these rallies. Rybakina or Krejcikova win the US Open this year? I mean, definitely Rybakina's on the radar. I don't know about Krejcikova, but she can also do anything at any time, so I wouldn't count her out. But I think Rybakina's for sure in the conversation. All right, Rybakina breaks 4-3. She takes the break. And Wim5Z is giving Swiatek some guidance. I'll tell you, chat, this is where Rybakina serves an ace out wide 15 love. This is where I'm excited to hear. Because we've got the coaches both. The microphones are in the coaches' box, and we can hear the coaching and what this is where I'm going to nerd out. 15 love. Like this is where it becomes a battle between the coaches too, right? Because Wim5Z has a perfect record with Swiatek against Rybakina, but let's see what he says to Swiatek to try and get her back into this. But also hearing from the coaches, Rybakina's coaches, right? To hear what they have to say, because they're both very vocal coaches. So it'll be fun to watch, to hear them and what message they're passing on in these moments. 30 love. Arsenal destroyed United? Yeah, of course they did. What are you talking about? Anyways, 400 line, the backhand of Swiatek, backhand of Rybakina in the net. Ooh, that would have been a winner. Swiatek wasn't running for that. 30-15. 30-15. Serve again. Now wide is a fault from Rybakina. Second serve. As the return goes in from Swiatek, the back of Rybakina. Swiatek hits it wide. All right, 40-15. Rybakina is just hitting so hard and so clean. It's going to force Swiatek to start being more aggressive. There's a bit of fault from Rybakina. Second serve. Second serve. As the return goes into the backhand of Rybakina. Rybakina hits it wide, 40-30. All right, 40-30. Rybakina serves again. Ace out wide. I love that serve. She did that so much against Sabalenka. That out wide serve, because she's got the best serve. I mean, this is the best server in the world, right? Rybakina is the best server on the WTA. She has been for a while. And her, that, like, when she, like, winds up on that ad side, and then she hits that serve, and it just goes, like, inside. It's not a kick serve. It's like a flat out wide. It's so dangerous. And she did that so many times against Sabalenka to save break points. And that time, it just is so good. And I wish the glare of the court was not as high so I could actually see it properly. But it looks, you can tell where it's going by the way that she hits the ball. Such a good serve out wide on that ad side. And such a powerful serve too. Remember, because it's going to the backhand of Swiatek too. So not that Swiatek's backhand's not good, but it's just such a big serve out wide. Like just flat. All right, 15-love. Swiatek serving to stay in the set. Rybakina backhand. Into the backhand of Swiatek. Rybakina backhand down the line. Swiatek with a slice on the stretch goes to the net. Rybakina is bullying Swiatek in the ground strokes. 15-all. 15-all. And again, a little fist bump from Rybakina. She's doing that like every time she hits a great shot. She doesn't get animated, but that's about as animated as she'll get. She's doing a lot of fist pumps today. 15-all. As Swiatek double faults. You know where that comes from. That's called intimidation. 15-30. Crowd trying to get Swiatek into this. Already 3 double faults for the match. Swiatek's second serve percentage, 20%. That's not good. Backhand goes into the backhand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand as Rybakina slices it back. Rybakina forehand into the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek forehand again into the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek goes down the line. Rybakina's there with a slice backhand. Swiatek in control, but she's going too central. And then gets lucky because Rybakina overhits the forehand. 30-all. But man, Swiatek's got to make... And I know it's easy for us to say this because it's so obvious, but she's got to make Rybakina run. If Rybakina's going to stand in the middle of the court and hit like that, don't hit it to her. Avoid hitting it central. 30-all. Swiatek serves again. An ace. That's better. Hasn't hit one of those for a couple games. 40-30. 40-30. Relax, Cam. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I getting a little bit too animated? I'm sorry. Do you want me to speak like this? As Rybakina hits a return wide and Swiatek holds. 5-4. 5-4. Rybakina will serve for the set. And we'll be right back. All right. Rybakina's going to serve for this first set. She has been flawless on serve so far. Folding clothes, listening to Cam, watching Swiatek on TV. Hey. Cool. Sounds great. Sounds fun. That's what I got to do today. I have to clean my house. My house is a mess. Cam is calling a golf tournament. Yeah, that's what tennis is. It's golf, right? Quiet, please. Just shh. Okay. Can Rybakina take the first set? She's been playing amazing. Swiatek's played well as well. It's just a one-breaker serve, but Rybakina has been just a bully so far. Even if Swiatek loses today, she shouldn't have any regret. She is fighting. Yep. All right. And remember, chat, what did I say at the start of the match? Swiatek has not played that much tennis on this court, and she hasn't been tested. She's beaten everybody she's played easily. She hasn't been forced to play. And Rybakina is forcing her to play. So, and it's more of a mental thing, right? If you've been cruising through, easy wins, whatever, and then you get to somebody and they start to push you, you start to panic, and you start to do things that you weren't doing. Like trying to go for winners that you weren't trying to do in other matches, trying to hit too big, and then you get pissed off and frustrated. So, let's keep an eye on Swiatek's reaction after this, if this set goes to Rybakina. Because if she starts to get angry, that's not going to help her comeback. She needs to stay calm. And we've seen with Wim Fizet, he's obviously not discouraging her from emoting, right? Whereas when she was with Vicharovsky, she was definitely a lot less vocal when it came to complaining. That's not the right word, but being frustrated. Wim Fizet is not. He's obviously said if you're angry, just say it. 15 love. Rybakina hits that forehand long. 15 all. 15 all. Serve again. As Rybakina serves. And the return goes into the forehand of Rybakina. Forehand Swiatek. Rybakina again. The forehand Swiatek is Rybakina into the net. 15-30. We have seen Rybakina in winning positions in first sets against Swiatek before. And Swiatek's come back to take the first set. So it's pretty important here that Rybakina, finishes the job because she's done really well. She's had a great start to this match. She can't just give it back now. Because she loses this first set, even though she won't show it, it will definitely be painful internally. As we do backhand return from Swiatek, the backhand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand. Again to the backhand of Rybakina. Swiatek goes down the line. That's a beautiful shot. 15-40. It has happened before. Don't jinx it. I'm not jinxing nothing. 15-40. We have seen this before. Where Rybakina might just be a little nervous serving for the set. And then Swiatek, who's now throwing fists, she is getting fired up. As Swiatek returns to the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand again, the forehand of Rybakina. Into the forehand of Swiatek on the stretch. Into the forehand of Rybakina. She hits it out. Okay. All right, chat. This set just got a lot more interesting. Rybakina, who was flawless, got a little nervous. And Swiatek's starting to get fired up. 5-5. This set is so important now. For both players. So important. Maybe a little more important for Rybakina. All right, Swiatek to serve. 37 minutes played, 5-5. Joe, whenever these two play, it just feels like such a big deal. Two of the best players of the 2020s. It would be interesting to see where Rybakina ranks in the 2020s. Because she's got more titles, I think, than Krejcikova, but Krejcikova's got two big titles. So, where would you put Rybakina in? She can't be top 3 because I think Gauff's in that conversation with Swiatek and Sabalenka. But who is she? 4 or 5? She's got to be 4 or 5. Or is Osaka 4 or 5? Because Osaka at the start of the decade was really good. I mean, Barty is obviously there, but we'll say active players. Is Rybakina, 4? The 4th best player of the 2020s? Who's active? Or is Osaka? You'd put Osaka above Rybakina? Osaka's won what? She won the Australian Open. And then she won. I mean, recently you'd say it's Rybakina because Osaka in recent years hasn't been as good as Rybakina. Rybakina hits that out 30-15. Because Osaka won 2020 US Open, 2021 Australian Open, right? So she's got 2 slams. But she doesn't have anything else, right? So maybe it is Rybakina. Because Rybakina's got 1,000 titles. She's won way more titles than Krejcikova and Osaka in the 2020s. So maybe it is Rybakina. Maybe we do put Rybakina ahead of Osaka. Just for consistency. 30-15. That's why it feels like such a big match. It's such a shame that we don't get Rybakina Gauff more often. I hope we get that at the US Open. Rybakina Gauff quarterfinal. Let's have it. And let them actually get to the quarterfinals to play. Anyway, Swiatek hits a wide, 30-all. We've had a lot of Swiatek Sabalenka and Swiatek Gauff. Rybakina Swiatek a few times. Rybakina Sabalenka. Rybakina Gauff have played one time. And that was like 4 years ago. All right, 30-all. Swiatek serves an ace. Woo! See, that's something that Rybakina didn't have to deal with in the first couple of matches they played. Because Swiatek wasn't hitting massive serves out wide at 30-all at 5-all in a set. That's something that Rybakina has had to adjust to because Swiatek's added that to a game. Even 12 months ago, Swiatek wasn't doing that. That's the Wim Fizet effect. That's clutch. All right, 40-30. Swiatek serves the forehand to Rybakina. Rybakina in the net. All right, 6-5. Swiatek leads. And Rybakina's got to get to this tiebreak. Osaka has 4. Or are we talking about... Yeah, we're talking about just in 2020s. Because I agree. Osaka is definitely up there with what she did at the end of the 2010s. But if we just go from 2020 to now, the first half of the decade, I mean, you got to say Rybakina is the 4th best player of the decade. It probably goes in order. It probably goes Swiatek, Sabalenka, Gauff, and then Rybakina. Because even if you look at Rybakina's results before she won Wimbledon, I think she made a Dubai final before the shutdown in 2020. She beat Serena at Roland Garros in 21. So she made a quarterfinal there. So she wasn't just like won Wimbledon and hadn't done anything. She had been, chipping away before she won Wimbledon. Then she wins Wimbledon, and since then she's been, amazing. But she had some really good results before that. But obviously that was the breakout. Yeah, and she's also won, she won Indian Wells, she's won Rome, she's won Stuttgart, she's won more importantly, who she's beaten as well. Like she's beaten Swiatek, she's beaten Sabalenka, she's beaten the best players on the planet consistently. She doesn't have just one win over these ladies. She's constantly beating them and constantly a threat. So I've got her at 4. And then maybe Krejcikova at 5. Maybe. Because again, Krejcikova's got wins over the best. She's got 2 Grand Slams. She's got Dubai, which is a 1,000. So maybe Krejcikova at 5. And Osaka, maybe Osaka, and you could probably change because it sucks because recency, the first 2 years or 3 years of the decade up until 22, 2020 to 2022, Osaka was winning Grand Slam. She was beating the best. It's hard. But she hasn't done anything in the last 3 years as much, except for last week when she made the Canada final, right? I mean, there's an argument we could have an argument about, or we could have a discussion about if it's Krejcikova in number 5 or Osaka, but I think I'm convinced Rybakina is the 4th best player of the decade, who's active. Because Barty's obviously in that conversation too. If we're talking about everybody. As we get a 4 now from Rybakina. Swiatek on the attack. Rybakina doing a lot of running. And Swiatek hits a winner. Love 30. This is probably the worst thing that could happen to Rybakina here. From serving flawlessly until 5-4, and then giving the break back, and then now this. Swiatek looks so confident too. She looked a little nervous in the start of the set and during the set, but now Swiatek's just like dancing around the court. Like her footwork is amazing. I mean, she's just hitting winners everywhere. Like Swiatek looks crazy good. Rybakina can't get a first serve. Love 30. Second serve. Into the forehand of Swiatek. Forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek forehand again to the forehand of Rybakina. And Swiatek forehand again. Into the forehand of Rybakina. Swiatek slices it back. Rybakina drop shot. And it works. Okay. Swiatek can't get it. 15-30. All right. 15-30. Lovely drop shot. Totally fooled everybody, including me. $15-30. She needs that big serve out wide that get that free point. Serve. Out wide in the net. Oh, that serve has just abandoned her in this in the last couple of games. I don't think she's hit many first serves at all. Second serve in the forehand. Swiatek return goes back and Rybakina. Rybakina hits it wide. 15-40. Swiatek with the 2-set points. From 5-3. And Chad, I did say this at the start of the set. The only way I said 5-2 to be fair. But 5-3 to 7-5 is similar. 15-40. Rybakina needs first serves. Because Swiatek is cruising. All right, Rybakina serves. A fault. I don't know where that serve's gone. Where's it gone? That first serve disappeared. Second serve. Into the backhand of Swiatek. Return the backhand of Rybakina. Swiatek backhand. Into the slice of Rybakina. That's in the net. Swiatek wins 4 in a row. And takes the first set. Man. Swiatek's like, hey, cameraman, back up. Oh, was she? Oh, no, she was getting changed. He's like, Swiatek's like, can you not film me while I'm trying to get changed? Yeah, camera, back the hell up. What the hell? Creepy as hell. Anyways. 7-5. God, that sucks for Rybakina. She was playing so well up until that until that game that she needed to play the best, and her serve disappeared. Yeah, personal space. Back up, cameraman. All right. Great set of tennis, though. Great serving by both for the most part. Only the 3 breaks of serve, 4 break points in total, and 12 winners, 15 errors from Rybakina. Most of those were towards the end. 12 winners, 11 errors from Swiatek, which is clean. But, yeah, let's see. Let's see if Rybakina can recover, because we've seen this before. I'm not sure exactly when it was. Let me have a look. When was the time that they played? There's been a few times where they've played, and Swiatek was down in the set and then came back to it. Did it happen in Doha this last year? I can't remember. Maybe the United Cup this year. Did it happen then as well? The United Cup, it was 7-6 in the first. Was Swiatek down like 5-3 in the first? I can't remember. But it has happened a few times, or at least twice that I can remember, where Rybakina was leading the set and then Swiatek came back to take the set. Swiatek's fired up as well. She is not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. United Cup this year as well, yeah. I feel this is one of the best matches of the season. Yeah, up until like it was if Rybakina had won the first set 6-4, the stats would have been very, very encouraging. But because of the last like 3 games, mainly for Rybakina, not like she hit a lot of errors. She made, her tennis dropped in the 3 games at the end, which unfortunately showed on the stats. But up until 5-4, both ladies were playing amazing. That was a great start. Such high quality. I just seen comment after winning first set. Incredible. I just seen a comment after... Wait, what? Watch Swiatek when she wins the first set? Is that what you're referring to? All right, we're just waiting for Rybakina to come back from the bathroom. Are you talking about Swiatek when she wins the first set? She has an amazing record. We'll talk about this year. So when Swiatek wins the first set in 2025, 41 wins, 1 loss. And that was to Keys at the Australian Open. And the thing is, she did win the first set 7-5, Swiatek, and then lost in... She had match points, but she lost in the tiebreak in the third. So, 41 wins and 1 loss when she gets the first set in this season. And then in her whole career, 330 wins, 19 losses when she wins the first set. I can tell you the last couple of players to have... I mean, let's just talk about 2020s, because I think the 2020s are when, obviously, been the Swiatek decade. So Swiatek, since 2020, 260 wins when she wins the first set, 11 losses. Only 11 losses. Keys was the last one to do it. Putintseva last year at Wimbledon. And then Noskova back in Australia, 24. So only, 2 times last year, once this year. Penko at the US Open in 23. Krejcikova in Ostrava 2022. Penko again in 2022. Sabalenka in 21 at the WTA Finals. Jabeur in Wimbledon 21. Kazatkina at 21. Eastbourne. Halep in the Australian Open 2021. And Kontaveit in the 2020 Australian Open. So, yeah, that is a short list of players who have beaten Swiatek from a set down. And only Keys this year. I mean, even more impressive, the amount of times Swiatek has played, had to play a third set is even less, right? So 41 wins, 1 loss. But she's only had to play a third set twice in those 42 matches. And one of those was the Keys match. The only other player to push Swiatek after Swiatek wins the first set was Schneider in Madrid, who took the second set in a tiebreak. So, I mean, yeah. So 40 of these matches, out of the 42 matches that Swiatek's played after winning the first set, have gone straight sets to Swiatek. So, not only is Rybakina trying to come back mentally from having a 5-3 lead and losing it, she's also going to do something that's has only been done once this year, but something that has only been done twice, and that's just to win the second. Nobody can win the second set against Swiatek. And that just shows how, like, when she wins the first set, Swiatek, she's like, okay, now I can start playing properly. Like, she doesn't, like, it's such a relief, and she can actually start playing even better, All right, let's see if Rybakina can recover. I mean, that was a tough start. That was a tough end to that set. All right, serve. Did she lose at 5-4 deuce? No, I don't think it was deuce. I think she didn't have a set point or it was close. I think it was 5-4 and it was like 15-40. 30-40, I think. Let me check. I don't think she was a deuce. I think she was 30-40. Yeah, she was at 15. Yeah, she was at 15-30, 5-3 on Swiatek's serve, but not on Rybakina. Didn't get close. 15 love. We do have the second match coming up straight after this. Yeah, she was 15-40 at... Oh, sorry, no, she was 30 all. Wait, no. No, she was 15-40. Yeah, she was 15-30 against Swiatek. and then 30-all, 40-30, and then Swiatek clutched it. So that was the chance. I mean, Rybakina really needed a break to win the set. In hindsight, we know that now. But that would have helped a lot more. 15-all. Yeah, and Swiatek is serving first in the second set, exactly. All right, 15-all. Swiatek serves. And ace down the tee. 30-15. As we get a backhand, we're backing up. That goes wide. 40-15. 40-15. All right, serve again. There's another massive serve down the tee. All right. Swiatek leads. 1-love in the second. 1-0 Swiatek. She's won 5 games in a row. Swiatek starts to look like the 2022 edition. Elena destroyed Sabalenka and now getting it from Swiatek. Well, I wouldn't say Swiatek. I mean, Swiatek's been great the last 5 games, but Rybakina's level at 5 from 5-4 just. And I don't know if it's because she was nervous or maybe you got to give Swiatek credit too. Maybe Swiatek was like, well, I've been able to break you while you're serving for the set before, so I can do it again. And maybe there was that kind of, she knew that Rybakina was nervous in that situation because it happened before. And she's like, well, I can do this again. And, Swiatek believed that she could break at that point and take advantage of the nerves that Rybakina had, even though you wouldn't know Rybakina's nervous, but she doesn't show it. But, I mean, getting broken to while you're serving for the set is... She hasn't had... There's nothing physical about that because, we're looking... she's not injured. She does have tape around her leg, but that's not the reason she got broken. All right, love 15. Rybakina double faults. The momentum has shifted. She's playing horrible compared to the first set. All right, second serve. Into the back of Swiatek, back into Rybakina. In the net, love 30. Everything is going wrong for Rybakina. All right, love 30. Rybakina just needs some first serves. Get that confidence back. Serving the forward, Swiatek. Return goes forward, Rybakina. But Swiatek overhit it. 15-30. Sky showed a stat that Swiatek is in 1,000 matches. When she wins the first set, she wins a match 100% of the time. That's crazy. That's crazy. 103-0 when she wins the first set of 1,000 tournament. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Don't tell anybody that. That's crazy. 30-all. Good shot, Rybakina. 30-all. That's crazy. That's crazy. I would love to know the stat of big tournaments combined. What's her record when she wins the first set in big tournaments? So Grand Slams, 1,000s combined. Rybakina serves an ace. All right, 40-30. That's crazy. By the way, chat, we're going to talk about this. If Swiatek does win this title, what has she got left to win? Canada? Wuhan, right? That's it. And then she completes the Golden Masters, right? 40-30. Now Swiatek forehand to the forehand of Rybakina. Drop shot's good. But Swiatek gets there and Rybakina's at the net. Volleys it away. 1-all. So Swiatek at Grand Slams, 90 wins, 8 losses when she wins the first set. And you combine that. So what's that? 193 wins and 8 losses at big tournaments. That's, I mean, the 8 losses for the Grand Slams makes that stat look worse. It's better when we, let's just go back to the other stat. The perfect 1,000 stat. Let's just leave that. Let's just stick with that one. That was a better stat. Doesn't look as good when you put in the Grand Slam set. Up one set lost, you know. All right, 1 hour played. As we get a return the net by Rybakina. 15 love. Cam's already handing out titles. Yep. Yes, I am. Because I want to see Swiatek win the Golden Masters. I want to see her do that. That's such an historic thing. No one's done that on the women's side. So Wuhan, Dubai, Canada, Cincinnati are the only 3 or 4 tournaments that she hasn't won out of the 1000s. Now she made the final in Dubai. She's never made it past the semis here. By the way, in Cincinnati, she made the semifinals the last 3 years. She lost to Gauff. She lost to Pegula. Lost to Gauff. Lost to Sabalenka. And now here. So usually if you beat Swiatek in the semis, you win the title. But she's never won the semis. So this will be the first time if she does win this match that she'll be in the final. Canada made the semifinals a few years ago, but has not been her best tournament. Canada. It's been a tough one. And then she's made it a couple of deep runs in Dubai. Now she did win Dubai in 22, but that was not not in 22. She has made the final in Dubai, but remember it was alternating between 1,000 and 500. Now it's only a 1,000. So every year she gets a chance to win that now. It's a little bit, I guess, easier to try and complete the set because you don't have to wait every second year to try and win that one. Every year it's a 1,000, so you get double the chances to complete that one. 40 love. Swiatek, great serve, and it's 2-1. 2-1. 2-1, Swiatek with the lead. Yeah, she doesn't play Canada that much either. Well, last year the Olympics got in the way. This year she did play, but unfortunately couldn't get it done. And then a couple of years ago she lost to Pegula. How many 1,000s are there? There are 10 on the women's side. So you've got Doha, you've got Dubai, Indian Wells, Miami, Madrid, Rome, Canada, Cincinnati, and then Beijing and Wuhan. So you've got to win all 10. And she's never played Wuhan, which is interesting. Last year didn't play. And then obviously it was shut down from 2019 to 2024. So it only came back last year, but we all know she wasn't playing. Why she wasn't playing. She didn't play Beijing until 2023, and she won that straight away. So you would think if she goes to Wuhan and plays that next year or this year, that she'd like her chances. But Sabalenka's owned that tournament over its history, so it's going to be, she's going to have to probably beat Sabalenka to do it. But yeah, Dubai, she made the final, lost to Krejcikova. That's her best result there. And then Canada, best result was when she lost to Pegula in a 3-setter when they played that song during the match. That was her best chance so far in that tournament. But again, I think, well, first thing, Swiatek has to win the Australian Open and she'll complete the set, right? That's the big one, right? Career slam, right? That's the big one. But the Golden Masters is like just like such a rare achievement that the fact that we can even talk about somebody being close to it is impressive. And then, of course, the gold medal at the Olympics is another part of the puzzle when we get down the track. So, you know. And all these achievements, all these, again, they're not really like, they're milestones or achievements, but they're not like necessary for like career success. She's already in the Hall of Fame. You know, obviously this winning the most amount of slams is the biggest thing. You know, Grand Slam glory is really the main thing. But all these little side missions, all these little side achievements, they all add up when it comes down to who's had the better career out of this person and that person. You know, we add all these things up. All right. Rybakina serves. Into the forehand Swiatek, backhand Rybakina. Into the backhand Swiatek, Rybakina backhand goes long. 15-30. Swiatek a chance to take an early break in the second. Yeah, Serena didn't play Indian Wells for like 15 years, so she never got to play that much. She also didn't play a lot of the end of year stuff. And I think she also missed out on playing in the Middle East because when Serena was playing, we didn't really have a February Middle Eastern swing that like, you know. And then when we started to have that in the 2010s, Serena didn't play it. So yeah, so Serena didn't. And also, again, the only reason the Golden Masters is now become a term is because of Djokovic. We weren't thinking about this stuff 15 years ago. Somebody winning every 1,000 title was not something that was that wasn't something that people strive to do, or even we talked about. It was always about winning all 4 slams. That was because remember, before Federer, Nadal, Djokovic did it, it was very hard to do. It was very rare. I think it was like what? Agassi did it. Laver did it, right? Now that's become, you know, something that happens a lot more. It's happened a lot more, and it's become something that we're like, oh, well, you know, this person's going to do it. You know, Sinner's going to do it, or Alcaraz going to do it. It's become way easier, which is weird because it's not easy at all. But it's become, maybe it is easier because they've changed the surface speeds and, you know, players, you know, all the tournaments, you know, French Open and Wimbledon are not that different. It's not that hard to win them both as it maybe was back in the day, going from Roland Garros being super slow to Wimbledon being super fast. You know, maybe that's a reason why it happens a little bit more. It's a little bit, or maybe, and again, maybe it's the style of play. As Rybakina's a forehand winner, it's advantage Rybakina. You know, the games have changed, right? So now you can play, the baseline style can translate onto every surface, you know, pretty easily. But now we're like, okay, well, we've seen that a lot. We haven't seen the Gold Masters, so, and we've never seen it on the WTA. So Swiatek is somebody who's on their way to do that. Sabalenka's also, she could definitely try and do it too, but it's just about winning those clay court tournaments. They're the hard ones. And with 2-week Masters, it's going to get even harder to do it, you know. All right, back to deuce. Back to deuce. All right, as that goes out by Rybakina, advantage Swiatek to take the break. in the second set. All right, advantage Swiatek. Need a let. A bit of serve. Out wide as a fault, second serve. Second serve is a let on the second serve. We serve now the backhand Swiatek, backhand Rybakina. Into the backhand Swiatek, is Rybakina backhand. Goes out, there it is. Swiatek with a break, 3-1. Man. Chat, this is the part of the show where I start talking about how good Swiatek is and how she's the best player of the 2020s and how like she's a generational talent and all those things. And we start praising Swiatek because she is by far the best player in this era. Like, not even close. Not even close. It is that time. It is. Especially if she wins this title. This is... Cincinnati might be the hardest title for her to win because of the speed of the court being the fastest, right? But also said the same thing about Wimbledon. You know, Wimbledon was maybe going to be the hardest, not because of fastest, but because it's the for her style and the way that she serves as well, it wasn't going to be beneficial to play on a fast grass court or a grass court in general. But Wim Fizet, he's come in here and yeah, Swiatek was great on the slow courts and she was great at Indian Wells and you know she's been great on those surfaces. But now Wim Fizet comes in, she's great on the other surfaces now, and she's won Wimbledon. She's playing great in Cincinnati, which has been a tricky venue to play. And she hits a backhand winner, 15 love. Why did you choose Elena over Swiatek? Because Rybakina looked great against Sabalenka, and I just thought, if Rybakina is going to beat Swiatek, it's today. I know I wasn't far off in the first set. She was up 5-4. But how important that first set was. All right, 30 love. But Rybakina, since being up 5-4, has just completely lost all confidence. Are you saying she's going to win the US Open or at least make the final? It depends on the draw for Swiatek because if she has to play, you know, there's obviously players that we could name that she doesn't want to play, or she needs to avoid some players. Like I'm not picking who's winning the US Open until the draw comes out, because on the men's side I'm picking Jannik Sinner, but on the women's side I've got to wait for the draw to come out because if Sabalenka plays certain players in the first rounds, I will not pick her and I'll pick someone else. You know, it depends on the draw. It really does. Also, it depends on if Swiatek wins his title, she won't play Sabalenka till the final. So then it depends on where Coco and you know where Coco goes, right? Does she go to Sabalenka or she goes down the bottom? Where does Rybakina fall, right? I mean, even though Rybakina is not winning this match, in the first set she was bullying Swiatek for the first hour of the match or first 45 minutes until she got nervous. Where's Penko, right? I mean, obviously, that's a massive name with Swiatek, So I can't pick anybody until we know where everybody is in the draw, and then I'll tell you. But I'll tell you if Swiatek does win this title and she doesn't have to play Sabalenka to the final, that's a huge plus. But also if Gauff gets put up the top half of the draw with Sabalenka, that's another plus. You don't have to play both of them. You only have to play one. And then where does Penko fall and where's Rybakina? If Rybakina and Penko are up the top as well, and Swiatek's draw down the bottom is nice, and they've all got to play each other up the top half, and Swiatek can just kind of like cruise her way to the final, then I probably will pick Swiatek. But if Swiatek loses to Paolini in the final, that might change things. So we got to wait until this is over and then the draw comes out. There's still so much to go. There's still so much to happen before we can even make a prediction. It's too hard to predict right now. There's so much more left. There's so many more things to do. Because the opposite could happen where Swiatek's got to play Ostapenko, Rybakina, and Gauff and others in her. She might get a terrible draw, and then Sabalenka's got the easy draw. And then I'm like, well, how do you not pick Sabalenka who won last year if she's got an easier draw? Like, we gotta wait. We gotta wait. It's too early to. It's too soon. We gotta wait. It would be such a mental bust for Swiatek if she gets the title in here this year. Wait, what? What's that? What are you talking about? All right, Swiatek 4-1. By the way, Swiatek, who was down 3-5 in the first set, has won 8 of the last 9 games. Rybakina, from the first 9 games to the last 9 games, completely different player. The first 9 games and the last 8 games, Rybakina, like, if you watch Rybakina at like 3-0 in the first set, and then you watch her now, you'd be like, who the hell's this? Like, totally different level of confidence just zapped out of her. And Swiatek also returning the serves, which wasn't happening early in the match. As we'll find out, Swiatek the backhand, Rybakina. Swiatek back on the stretch, Rybakina backhand in the net. And that wasn't happening either. Rybakina was hitting winners. All right, love 15. Love 15. And it all started when Rybakina served for the set. And just couldn't find the serves to get her the set. I mean, ever since that moment, it's all been Swiatek. And she got confidence out of that Swiatek too. Forehand in the net by Rybakina again. Love 30. Love 30. Love 30. Thanks, Deb. Love 30. And Rybakina serves again. The return goes in the back and Rybakina for now Swiatek, but no, Rybakina hit it out. Love 40. To go to 5-1 and serve for the match. I was ready for a 3-set thriller. Look, that first set was so important for Rybakina. I know now it makes sense, but even in the first set, we're talking about this. We're saying how, who needs a first set more? And it felt like Rybakina needed it more. And it's showing that is definitely the case. But also, at 2-0, I said that, I think it would be horrible if Rybakina was up 5-2 and lost 7-5. And it's been horrible. Had Rybakina won the first set 6-4 and kept Swiatek scared, it would have, and kept bullying Swiatek, maybe it would have been. Swiatek still could have come back and won, but it would have made for a very competitive second set, or at least a very interesting second set. But because the momentum just completely shifted once Swiatek broke back, and she hasn't looked back. I mean, nothing's changed. Like, Swiatek's dominated since she broke at 5-4. Since then, it's been all Swiatek. Besides that one game. Backhand Rybakina, into the back of Swiatek, into the forehand Rybakina. Swiatek slice. Goes in. Rybakina down the line. Swiatek with a passing shot. Goes wide. That would have been amazing. All right, deuce. We get the deuce. We get the deuce. By the way, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We've still got the other semi-final coming up next, with Paolini taking on Kudermetova, winner to play the winner of this match tomorrow. And then tomorrow we've got Sinkeraz, which we love that match. We are so spoiled, chat. You don't even know. You don't even know how spoiled we are to have that match again. To have that match 4 times in 4 months, we are so, so lucky. They might not play for another year. That'd be crazy. But they might not play for like 6 months after this match. You never know. I mean, they didn't play for 6 months last year. You know, they played in Beijing and then they didn't play for, until Rome. So more than 6 months. But 4 times in 4 months, the best matchup of the year, of the decade. I mean, come on now. Of the new era. Advantage Rybakina. As with a serve into the forehand. Swiatek return goes in. Rybakina backhand down the line. Swiatek with a pass. Rybakina volley. Swiatek with a lob. Rybakina with a volley down the line. And Swiatek slices it wide. Okay. That was a good fight back by Rybakina from love 40 down. Let's see if that helps her at all. It does feel like Rybakina's going to break back now. 4-2. I'm getting tired of Sinner Alcaraz finals all the time. We need new contenders. I know. Look. There will be new contenders eventually, but we've seen this before. Like right now, like people might be getting sick of Sinkeraz a little bit because it's been played a lot, but there's going to be a time where we don't get Sinkeraz every month, or even like we might not get, like I said, we might not get Sinkeraz for a year one time. It might be 12 months before they play again, and we're going to be like, oh man, I missed that. So that's why we got to enjoy when they play this much, because this is rare that this happens. It's rare that we get the 2 best players of the era of this decade. Djokovic fans, please don't come at me. You know what I'm saying. The 2 best players going forward playing each other this much in the biggest matches. I mean, this is what we want. This is why we love Federer Nadal. This is why we love Djokovic Nadal, right? Federer, that's why we love seeing those matches. But by the way, Rybakina gets a return winner and it's love 30. Love 30. That's with a serve. As the return goes in the net from Rybakina, 15-30. 15-30. And Swiatek serves a fault. Here we go, second serve. Second serve. Serve to the back of Rybakina. Return winner. Couple of return winners in this game, and Rybakina's got some confidence. 15-40. All right. $15.40, breakback points. Swiatek serve. She needs first serves. She hits a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Serving to the back of Rybakina. Good return. Swiatek forehand goes in. Into the forehand of Rybakina. Forehand again, Swiatek. As Rybakina goes to the forehand of Swiatek. They're just going cross court, and eventually Rybakina hits it out. Jeez, they were going toe-to-toe in that rally. 30-40. Still break back point here for Rybakina. But they were just standing there and just smoking forehands cross-court until somebody missed. All right, 30-40. Serve is a fault. Second serve. Serve again. Into the backhand of Rybakina. Return goes in the backhand of Swiatek. Rybakina on the attack. Swiatek defends as we get on the backhand for Rybakina on the net. God, there was some great backhands for Rybakina until that last one. She was really putting the pressure on Swiatek. And then she missed the last one, which would have been close to a winner, I think. If she hit that over, Swiatek would have scrambled. Rybakina is definitely getting back in this. At least feeling like she's back in this match a little bit. Swiatek can't find a first serve. Second serve. Can you seem to be pro Rybakina? We are pro Swiatek. Yeah, I'm pro tennis, bro. So that's me. I'm pro 3-set tennis. As the return goes into the forehand of Swiatek. Forehand of Rybakina. Again to the forehand of Swiatek. Rybakina. Again with the forehand. Is Swiatek with the backhand cross. To the backhand of Rybakina. Rybakina hits it out. Rybakina's backhand is letting her down in this game. Unfortunately. Advantage Swiatek for a 5-2 lead. Just to keep Rybakina away. Stay back. Rybakina's hit 20 unforced errors in the set, and I'm going to guess that more than half of those have been the backhand. Advantage Swiatek for a 5-2 lead. We got a fault. Second serve. Serve again. Into the backhand. Rybakina. Return goes wide on the backhand. 5-2 Swiatek. She keeps the break for now. But man, that backhand just went missing for Rybakina, which is such a shame. She was right there. 5-2. 5-2. Swiatek one game away from the final. Both women facing multiple breaks. Impressive holds. Yeah, I mean, love 40 for Rybakina and then 15-40 Swiatek. So both fighting back on serve. Is this Swiatek's best match since Wimbledon? Yeah. For sure. For sure. Okay. All right. But chat, if Swiatek does win this match now and doesn't get broken in the next serve or breaks to win this now, there's really been two parts of this match, two games of this match that have made the difference, really. 5-4 when Rybakina served for the set and she couldn't do it. And that last game where Swiatek, Rybakina's backhand let her down when she had a chance to get the break back and to get into... Like they're really only the two games that have been... Yeah, okay, Swiatek breaking to win the set and Swiatek breaking early in this set. But really, the two most important games were when, at the moment, have been Rybakina serving for it at 5-4, which she got broken, that was huge. And then Swiatek saving the break in that last game. If those things the opposite had happened, totally different match. You give those games to Rybakina instead, she gets 6-4 first set, and then the second set, she's at least back on serve here, right? So that, really, they're the only two games so far that have mattered. Really. Like, as in, like, they've been the most important games. Obviously, other games matter, but those two games have been the most important. Because if had they have gone the other way, totally different match. All right, love 15. Rybakina serving to stay in the match. We're to serve. Here's a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Into the backhand of Swiatek. Forehand from Rybakina to the forehand of Swiatek, and she hits it out. 15-0. 15-0. We got a fault, second serve. Cam is anti-Swiatek. Swiatek gets a passing shot winner, 15-30. That's a good one. 15-30. 15-30. 15-30. As Rybakina serves, a fault. Second serve. That was joke of the day. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, second serve. As a backhand return. Into the forehand of Rybakina. Rybakina hits it out. Match point, Swiatek, 15-40. 15-40. 15-40. Match points. 2 match points. For Swiatek to take her spot in the final of Cincinnati for the first time. Not yet, though. Ace down the tee. 30-40. All right. Match point number 2 as the return goes in the forehand of Rybakina. Forehand, Swiatek goes long, and Rybakina gets to deuce. All right, deuce. We get to deuce. Rybakina serves again. And the return goes out by Swiatek. All right, advantage Rybakina. I'll tell you what, last 3 games, if Rybakina does hold, both players have had had to save break points and fight back in the last 3 games. As Rybakina serves, a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Into the backhand Swiatek. Forehand Rybakina. Into the forehand Swiatek. Rybakina forehand. Goes wide. Back to deuce. Back to deuce. Swiatek, another easy draw, paid off. I mean, that's not... Is that true? I don't think she had an easy draw. Definitely could have been harder, but, you know, that's... Kostruk, if she had played Kostruk and Kostruk was healthy, that wouldn't have been easy. Her 4th round, I don't think she would have had any problems no matter who you put there. Kalinskaya just wasn't ready for that match. She wasn't fit, and also Anisimova lost, so it wasn't easy. She just didn't play. She hasn't had to play the the draw. I mean, compared to Rybakina, it hasn't been as hard. Obviously, Rybakina's had to play 2 two top 10 players to get here, All right, advantage Rybakina to keep things alive, to put the pressure on Swiatek to serve for this match. Compared to the draw earlier this year, Swiatek has had an easy draw. Well, she deserves it. Swiatek had some nightmare draws early in this, throughout this whole year. I feel like every time we saw the draw, Swiatek's draw would just be it couldn't, it just kept getting worse. She never got a break. It was always, literally every time it was Swiatek nightmare. Exactly, because it was. It was a Swiatek nightmare. Until Wimbledon. Wimbledon was the only time where... But even Wimbledon was a nightmare draw at the start of the tournament. Until, Rybakina lost and Penko... Collins was there, but she destroyed her. Ostapenko wasn't there. Rybakina losing to Towson, that was huge. Kalinskaya was around, but that she lost as well. Obviously, Gauff lost before the quarterfinals, so that Swiatek didn't have to play Gauff. So, it was a very tough draw for Swiatek until she started to play. And we had so many upsets that Swiatek didn't have to play Rybakina at Wimbledon. She didn't have to play Gauff. She didn't have to play Andreeva, right? Who's very, very tricky. We haven't seen Andreeva take on Swiatek for a while, but she was a problem in the middle of the at the start of the year, right? Not saying Swiatek got an easy run, but it could have been worse. And it was good because she's had so many shitty draws this year. She hasn't had the luck on her side. I know people like to bring up the fact she didn't win a title in a year, but it's not just because she wasn't playing well. She was playing well. She was just getting terrible matchups at bad times. She was playing Penko at stupid times early in the tournament. She was playing, a lot of players that she struggles against early. It wasn't just because, she's playing bad because she's just not a good player anymore. She was losing to Collins, all right? Collins is a nightmare. By the way, love 30. Swiatek trying to win this match. As a default second serve. Only talking about this tournament? Yeah. Well, this tournament, it's been much nicer than previous events. Even last week, Canada. She played that. We forgot about that, but she played. Lost to Towson. We know how tough she's been. All right, second serve. Into the back of Rybakina. Rybakina, Swiatek. Into the forehand of Rybakina on the stretch. Rybakina with a forehand again. Into the forehand of Swiatek, who hits a winner. Cross court, 15-30. Now Rybakina, I feel she needs to get her backhand working to get this break, because that's what lost her the chance in the last game. That's what she hit backhands in the net and she couldn't break. All right, Swiatek serves again. $15-30. Serving the forehand of Rybakina. Good return. Swiatek gets it back. Rybakina forehand. As Swiatek hits it into the forehand of Rybakina. Goes down the line of the backhand Swiatek. Rybakina on the attack with the backhand. Goes into the backhand Swiatek, who hits it down the line for a winner. Rybakina knew. You could tell there that she knew she didn't want to miss that backhand because she had missed them before. And she went for that backhand she went for an angled cross-court backhand instead of an aggressive down-the-line backhand, which would have been a winner. But because she'd missed them, she played that a little safe. She went for the cross-court angle, and then Swiatek's like, I'm already here. 30-0. So again, Rybakina didn't hit an error that time, but she didn't put the... didn't try and go for it. Backhand to backhand rally. Played it safe. Forehand Swiatek into the forehand of Rybakina, who puts it in the net. Match point Swiatek, 40-30. 40-30. Match point Swiatek. To take the win, make the final of Cincinnati for the first time, and try to add to the titles, the 1,000 titles she's already got. And edge closer to that Golden Masters, which has only ever been done by one person, and we should have a trophy for it. It should be a separate trophy. That if you achieve it, you get like this golden, statue. 40-30. Serving the forward of Rybakina return. Goes out. Swiatek wins. Swiatek has won 4 in a row against Rybakina. She was down 4-2 against her in the head-to-head. Now she leads 6-4. And Swiatek is into the final. God, it really came down to the middle of that match. From 5-4 to 4-2. That's where Rybakina just went missing, and that's what cost her the match. She got broken, and then Swiatek got confident, right? That's one thing that happened, but then Rybakina just couldn't turn it back. And then once that happened, she just couldn't, it was too far gone. But she had chances at the end there, but it was too late. Swiatek was too confident, and it was too easy in the end. Or at least not too easy, but it was at least too, it was straightforward in the end. I think, and it's happened a few times against Swiatek, now, right? A couple of times now, where she's had that chance to win the first set and she's not won it. Swiatek runs away for a little bit, and then by the time Rybakina regains her focus after 30 minutes, she's down 5-3 and the match is over. So that's something she's got to figure out. But man, Swiatek, she is on a run. 3rd final in 4 tournaments. And she is into the final of Cincinnati for the first time. She's going to take on Kudermetova or Paolini. And I think she'd rather play Paolini just because the matchup probably suits her a little better. But yeah. You're cool because you're pro Swiatek like me? Okay, don't watch the preview. Swiatek Paolini in the final, and Swiatek takes the title. Yeah, Swiatek... Look, Paolini has played really well this week, but Swiatek beats Paolini if they play. Kudermetova is a bit wild, though, because we don't know what Kudermetova... She might not be the higher ranked player. People are going to just look at the ranking and go, oh, Swiatek beats her. But Kudermetova is dangerous. She's got weapons. She's got game that could push Swiatek. But if Swiatek plays well, she should beat Paolini. Paolini's game is not as intimidating as Kudermetova's could be, right? 104-0 when she wins the first set at 1,000 matches. That's crazy. So much for being bullied. Hey, look, Swiatek was definitely bullied in that first set. Until 5-4, and then Rybakina got a little nervous, missed some serves, and Swiatek breaks back, and then it completely shifted the match. Again, the 2 games that were most important in that match, it was only two super important games. The one where Rybakina was serving the set, that was huge moment, and then the second one was at that 4-3. Was it 4-3? 4-3, where Rybakina had 15-40 and missed the backhands. Again, those 2 things, if you flip those 2 games around, we could be looking at a totally different result. So those were very important games. And again, I guess the positive for Rybakina is that it was her fault, right? If she served better in that 5-4 game, or if she had hit better backhands in that game to break, the positive is that it was on her. It was her fault, right? She can fix that. Whereas if Swiatek had played really well and broken her or served big, it's like, well, she's too good. I couldn't do anything about that. Swiatek was too good. But because Rybakina had the chances, but she couldn't take them, and it was her errors that that resulted in losing those games. I guess you can look back at the tape and go, okay, well, we've got to figure out how I don't do that. So that's probably a positive out of a negative for Rybakina, but because, if she wins the first set, we got a totally different match, right? Swiatek's probably a little bit more frustrated. Rybakina's definitely more confident if she wins that first set. But I tell you, Swiatek's serve, when we talk about this rivalry, that has been the huge difference. Like, before Wim 5Z came along, Swiatek was bullied by Rybakina on returns. Swiatek now, with the serve being beefed up, and against Rybakina, I think Wim 5Z against Rybakina has been the biggest. That's been the biggest change in the biggest positive about Wim 5Z and Wimbledon, obviously winning Wimbledon. But before winning Wimbledon, the biggest positive was the fact that Swiatek now can consistently beat Rybakina, which never was the case. It was always Rybakina was just as scary as Penko was 12 months ago. Like, every time they'd play, it'd be like, oh no, here we go. This is the lady that Swiatek fears second most. Now, Swiatek leads 6-4 in this head-to-head, and now it's all Rybakina who has to do all the work and figure out how she turns it around. So, it's been a very interesting... I just love this, because now we're going to see... Again, it's back to Rybakina. What can she do to not have those moments of nerves where she loses these matches where she could have won this match? I mean, it was definitely up for grabs in the middle of that first set, and she was winning the match until she wasn't, right? Or she was winning the set. But again, Rybakina's had a great week. I don't think we should. I feel like if she lost to Swiatek, it's not a bad thing. It's not that bad. Oh, she lost to the best player right now. Okay, the person who's playing the best tennis right now. Okay, yeah, yeah. Rybakina's. I'm sure she doesn't need to be too disappointed. Just disappointed at how she lost, I think, is. But the fact that she lost to the player that's the red hot player right now is, come on. No need to be sad about that. She beat Sabalenka. She destroyed Sabalenka and played that crazy level, in that semi. So, in that quarterfinal. Second title for Swiatek, closing number 1. Well, yeah. Well, if she does win, if Swiatek does win the final, she's number 2 in the world again and overtakes Coco. So that's huge. All right, chap. Let's get to the next one, because we've got Pellini versus Kudermetova. We're going to find out who's going to play Swiatek in the final. And chat, this is the 30 seconds where I tell you how good Swiatek is and how she's the best player of the generation, and that she is the generational talent, of this era. She's obviously Sabalenka's number 1 right now, but Swiatek is the generational talent. We need to appreciate every time she does crazy shit, because when we always like to look back and go, oh, how good was that player? They did all those things, but we're in it right now. And when we know that we're in it right now, we know how good Swiatek is. We're watching her in real time, and we realize, holy shit, in like 10 years' time, we're going to look back and go, how good was Iga Swiatek? Yeah, she won all these things. We're in it right now, so we've got to appreciate it right now, how crazy good she is. She might win a Golden Masters. If she can win Cincinnati, that's 1 more off the list. She's only got 3 to go, and she hasn't even played Wuhan yet. Anyways, let's get to the next match. Swiatek, she makes the final. She beats Rybakina, comes back from 5-4 down in the first set, or 5-3 in the first set, and flips the script. 7-5, 6-3. She is going to play the winner of the next match. We'll see you soon.